Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vishwaro Guratmeti Murti Beda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Welcome everyone. We are on the 10th chapter. We are looking at the glory of the Lord. We know that Shwara is the intelligent cause of the creation of this manifestation. He is the material cause as well. And basically, what we were seeing is that everything is the glory of the Lord. So we need to keep that in mind so that we do not take it. We
You
don't.
keep picking up a little bit, Orlando G.
Okay. Let me see here one thing. I just realized one of my routers is not working. So let's give it a try again. If it freezes, and then I have another idea, okay? So we are looking at the nature of God as this central part of the Gita describes, and the fact that all glory belongs to Ishwara. The importance of keeping that in mind. I like the example of remembering that this creator, this knowledge principle, this consciousness principle manifests as this omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent principle. It does everything. It creates and sustains everything, including our instrument of experience and knowledge all the time. And so to keep it in mind is wonderful to understand that we owe so much to God, and it's something so easily forgotten, you know. Yeah, and keep it in mind is so important because that brings about the emotion called devotion, reverence, love, gratitude, which is an aspect of spirituality, the religious aspect of spirituality, without which spirituality does not really fructify. So we have seen all of that. So we have seen the different levels of recognition of this glory of God from from the from the initial stage of bhakti, the devotee at the beginning, they are going to relate to God as we know, limited by a certain deity, namarupa, and attributes, and so on. And then we go into the vision of Ishvara as the totality, right? The cosmic Ishvara. So that brings us to the beginning of the verse of the chapter 10, in which the Lord said, "O Arjuna, once again, may you listen to my supreme words, which I, wishing your welfare, shall tell you because you were so delighted." I enjoyed very much that last passage of this verse because the disciple must be full of joy to receive this knowledge from the Guru. And Krishna says, I am all
Arlindo, it could be time to try your other idea.
okay. Okay, doke. So then let's give me a moment. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So I have a guest here, a friend, a student of mine, and her computer was connected to the internet, so she's just disconnecting it, although she's here participating. Let's see if it gets better. Unfortunately, then there is something wrong with my other router. I'm only with one provider, but this is the supposedly the better one. So I don't have an alternative to change to the other one, but I have the alternative to just go wireless. Let's try to go wireless because with the wires not working. Okay, if I begin freezing, you let me know again. And then our other backup plan is I close the video and then we go only with audio. So Krishna is saying, talking to Arjuna now, and he's saying, be very attentive, listen with much attention. Because these words are supreme. They are supreme because they come from a source, which is the supreme intelligence. So everything is revealed in this mithya order of reality to the human jivas, from that source of pure knowledge, pure intelligence we call Ishvara. So it is a supreme knowledge, and of course it can be delivered only by supreme words. And the supreme words serve the welfare of Arjuna, which Lord Krishna wishes. And Lord Krishna being delighted by seeing how Arjuna is delighted himself. No? So this was the first verse we saw last week. The second one, neither the gods nor the great saints know my true source, my true nature, my true origin, because I am the origin of everything, of all gods, all deities, all great sages in all respects. So again, he's just saying that everything in reality is originated from this supreme knowledge, which is Ishvara. And then he says that a lot of these deities and a lot of these so-called sages do not really understood that all glory belongs to me. We remember the canon Upanishads that all those deities have had that battle, they have defeat the asuras, and they were celebrating, drinking, and and simply bragging that it's my glory, I did this, I killed some men, and so on. And then Ishvara had to teach them a lesson, present that bright deity to humble down. The idea of humiliating someone to produce humility is a beautiful concept. So Ishvara has sent that light to humiliate the arrogance of those, even gods and deities, even Indra. Indra in the end. The difference is that instead of becoming very, very, very humiliated and shrink and say, "Oh my God, I was defeated," he surrendered before that bright entity and says, "Okay, give me the teachings now," which is the most beautiful thing in in a process in the process of human growth. No? The individual turning to the scripture, turning to the guru, turning to a deity such as that bright deity and say, "Okay, now I know you are here to teach me something. I want to know the true nature of God." So Ishwar is the cause of everything. We have seen that. The third verse, among all the mortals, that discriminative one, the very rare discriminative, yeah, one, get to know me to be birthless, causeless, and the real great Lord of all universe. Only these highly, yeah, qualified discriminative individuals, which are rare, become freed from all sins. So they are free from sins. And sins here must be understood, as I said, as mistake, as confusion, taking Dharma to be a Dharma, taking into materialism, you know. So not really understanding that there is a creator here and we need to observe the laws and principles that sustains this apparent order because it's all Ishwara. So it requires some people with incredible mounting of qualifications, including discrimination, Viveka Shakti, yeah, to understand the nature of a God. Because when you tell people, "So what is God?" And God is nowhere. Yeah. But how is it? I heard it is on the sky. I heard that God is in the temple. Yeah. I heard that it is in heaven. You say, "No, there is no location." God is outside of space and place and time. There is no location for God. And then you lose people, people lose you. It's very rare someone to get to that uh, open-mindedness, uh, capable to conceive a God which was not birthed, which not located anywhere, and it's not within the causality laws, cause and effect. This God was not caused by any other principle. The true nature of God as Nirguna God, not naturally. Yeah? And this God appearing as a Guna God is the Lord of the universe. And the person who understands that becomes free from sins, which could be seen as patterns, mistakes, feeding into more conflicts and more, errors and the papa karma. So he talks about science, all of that to come to our class of today. Many days we haven't met. Intelligence, knowledge, non-delusion, patience, truthfulness, sense control, mind control, pleasure, pain. He presents now a lot of different features of the universe uh, within the subtle mind of the jiva. He goes into not only everything which is manifest physically, materially, here is my glory, but the subtle world of thoughts, feelings, emotions, knowledge, delusion, and truthfulness, lies, fake news, control, effort, spiritual effort, everything from the subtle realm of human experience is also an expression of the glory of this God. So we know we have the outer world and we have our inner world. Our inner world is somehow private, so only we ourselves know what's going on. Thanks God, we don't know what the other is thinking about us from moment to moment. So some people do not control themselves, and then they go there and they tell, "That's what I think about you," and then big conflict, even bigger. So Ishvara knows, and everything is Ishvara. He's all-knowing. Everything, all these mental, emotional, and cognitive dispositions are born of me alone. So he presents a list of inner states, inner predispositions, that in themselves they are objects of experience, but they are very subtle. They are from the subtle world. Okay, so all of these dispositions, all these mental states, all this human experience represent just a small list of the inner world of thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, knowledge, cognitions, ignorance, all of that. So, as we know, the world is divided into the physical material in and the subtle world. So, the subtle world is just our collection of impressions that we take from the material physical world that remains retained in our subconscious mind or in our causal body. So that is our inner world, which is more important for a seeker of truth than our outer world. The outer world will wish it would be favorable to my likes and dislikes, but since we have no control, the inner world is much more important for Vedantin, developing these predispositions, this kind of attributes of a health mind, a scientific mind. Because as Swamiji often says, if you cannot control your mindset, you must work on your, if you not control the setup of the world outside your environment, you must work on your mindset. God is everywhere. I close my eyes, God is there, manifesting itself as thoughts, feelings, emotions, predispositions, notions, concepts, ignorance, knowledge. And then we want knowledge. And for that, we need cultivate a sattvic mind, as we know. Sattvic mind is going to pacify one's emotions as well. So, meaning to say, we are not going to be much disturbed by what happens around us, because we have a sattvic mind, which a balance, a strength, not to respond emotionally every time to any and everything around us, because that somehow that takes us out of clarity and balance, and if you are unbalanced, your discrimination is also. Self-control is important. He puts the self-control. Self-control is exactly what I'm trying to say here, So there are situations that we need to be able to press that pause button and say, okay, I'm not going to present any response right now. I feel the heat of my emotional body. So therefore, I just put a stop and wait it to calm down. This is self-control, sense control, mind control, thought control, actions control, vigilance. This is not that easily to be attained, especially a discipline of the mind and thoughts. That's called Dhamma, having a certain mastery over your mind. So then he mentioned about pleasure and pain, sukham and dukkham, birth and death. So all of that, origin of all these thoughts in respect to all these dispositions, they originate in the Ishwara, and Ishwara alone. All thoughts, they come from that source and they resolve back in that source, arrival and departure of everything, fear, everything. Any one of those human experiences we have is an expression of the glory, the beauty, the complexity, the diversity of God expressed in the inner world, which, is more relevant to the human jivas, but all animals have also a mind, a causal mind, and the impression and the experience they have somehow impact their causal mind. Therefore, we say that some animals develop punya somehow to be born born as a human being sooner or later. Punya papa. So pose, equanimity, pose, samatha, very beautiful pose, a beautiful posture, a posture of tranquility, balance, mental strength, no violence, ahimsa. All of that is the glory of Lord. So all of this originates from Shwara. Uh, he says, I am the cause of everything. I'm the cause of the outer world and your inner world. Combine them together, you have everything, the inner and the outer. Therefore, I am in everything. I am even in the cause. I am the only reality. The three realms, causal and the subtle and physical material, they are all my expressions. So we carry on the following file here. Again, still looking into the nature of God. So I'm going to go quickly through this recap here. So in the previous verse, God was defined as the creator of Jagata, the universe, the cause of the universe. That is the most simple way to understand God as the creator, as we know. The other, more sophisticated for more mature individuals, is God as the principle that manifests the universe. And this manifestation does not occur within time, but time and space occurs within this manifestation. This is the second level of explanation for people who are more mature. Okay. The most beautiful aspect, I say this again and again and again and again, is to get to the understanding of Ishvara in its intelligence cause of the universe. Because if you see him as the material cause only, you see him manifest as all physical, material namarupas of the universe, the cosmos. Everything is Ishvara. But the moment you tap it into the intelligent, efficient cause as being the supreme body of knowledge, omniscient principle, and then you begin to develop a visualization of God as the intelligence principle that sustains the universe, sustains yourself, sustains everything, the germs and the bacteria and the virus within our body. So, and then you get in contact with Ishwara in a more constant way because you know that this universe is intelligently designed because when we look into the phenomenal world, everything is built in such a perfection that science will never understand. this intelligence. So you see God as the intelligent principle, and then you are good to go. Because I often call it the miracle of life, and then you begin seeing God everywhere, and you can even see God within your mind with all these predispositions that were described. God does not need a place in Brahmaloka to reside. God is the substratum, and everything comes forth from this God and resolves back into this God, and this God is fundamentally consciousness, one without a second. But we need to grow sufficiently to get to this understanding of God as this intelligent supreme knowledge. And it projects and creates the universe not like a carpenter requiring raw material. It just use itself, use the power of Maya, from the Prakriti of Maya, he grossifies the elements to produce the raw material necessary for this projection. So it is the material cause as well. Just as the seed evolves into a tree, just as the wood manifests as a table, God appears as the entire universe. Physical material, gross universe, and subtle universe. The thing with subtle universe is important. All mysticism, it comes from the subtle universe. So the physical universe is a grossification and a manifestation of Ishvara through the power of Maya that develops all these Namarupas and then produce also the Namarupa called the human Jiva, provides us with free will. And then we go there, we begin attributing value names to certain forms and attributes and values to this and that. And then, as we know, we're going to develop likes and dislikes. So it's unavoidable. Duality means development of likes and dislikes. And then our subtle body is built in such a way that we have a memory center in which our experiences are just archived as this is my like files, this is my don't like, I hate, and this is so, I'm indifferent. So, and there we go. We have the subtle universe of one individual jiva, okay? This mental impressions that have emotions to it, they have all experience. And then we can go into the mysticism, which is just a different kind of experience that we call mystical or spiritual experience that are also deposit as vasanas or impressions. And our scriptures say that when we leave this physical body, we go to a place, a loka, with which we synchronize, our mind synchronize or conforms itself with that order, vibrational energy. Everything is energy. And then when we go into that, and then we go into the field of mysticism, esotericism, which is dualities without having a physical instrument and a physical order in which I can transact. So everything is Ishvara. So this mental, emotional, mystical universe is almost like the material physical is recycled because it is taken as all mental, emotional, cognitive impressions of all human beings, and that creates exotericism and mysticism. Everything comes from God with the help of its jivas, human jivas. Therefore, what we experience is only the Lord and the Lord alone, manifesting as the outer cosmos and my inner cosmos. So the five elements, everything. So the intellect must purify and develop maturity so that we can understand God as the pure knowledge, supreme intelligence, as I often say. And that is the last level, the third stage. I see God as this intelligent principle. And there I have to have a sharper and a finer intellect. Then the scripts are going to make sense. So, and then I'm getting ready to understand God as a principle which is beyond knowledge and ignorance. Even the supreme knowledge, the all-knowingness entity, the real nature is beyond knowledge, is beyond ignorance. So God does not transform itself into the universe, because otherwise God would become the universe. This is something that we all know. God does not become the universe. God appears as the universe. Because if God becomes the universe, and then what is God? He became the universe. Yeah? So there was milk, and then milk became cheese. So now what is the milk? No. God appears as the universe, for those who can see God through and through the universe manifest. You understand? You have to be very refined to see God behind this physical, material, gross universe, to see God behind, so quote unquote, my mental universe of thoughts, feelings, cognitions, and emotions. I see God, sustaining all of this. And this God it appears as the universe without undergoing any change. It appears without having undergone any change, no change. So without undergoing any transformation or changing, it remains in its absolute nature. This Lord appears at the universe, and the jiva, human jiva, goes about the three states, waking state, dream state, and sleep. And the mind changes through these three states, and even during each one of those states, with the exception. Now, we cannot talk about the dreams, the awake, and the sleep state, but the awakened state and the dream state, the mind within those states still are changing. So consciousness appearing as the mind goes through this apparent change, but the true nature of consciousness of the mind is consciousness. Consciousness does not go through any dream transaction. Consciousness does not have any celestial dream, or much less any nightmares. Okay, so the awakened must understand its true nature as the consciousness behind the three states. That's the bottom line. And for that, we need to go to great length of transformation or preparation or development. And the point here is like there is no really three entities. It is the dreamer, the awaker, Vishwa, that apparently transforms itself into the dreamer. And then the dreamer apparently transforms itself into the deep sleeper. So there is only one entity as the dreamer, the Jivatma, and going through three states, as we know, the three distinguished states. It appears You cannot say like, no, no, it was not me, it was my Vishwa who did that, you know. I'm now like people nowadays, they identify as cats and dogs and crocodiles. So we cannot say, no, no, now I'm fully identified as my dreamer. So anything my Vishwa does, don't blame me. Huh? No, there's only one entity. Huh? And it appears to go through three orders, becoming three different entities, but fundamentally is one entity. Likewise, there is only one consciousness appearing as the three states and the three entities, experience entities, but one single nature, which is God nature, consciousness. There was no transformation involved. Bhagwan does not become anything, as we know. So again and again, the mind, the human mind, the mind of the Vishwa, the awaker, has the power to project dream again and again and again and again. So I don't know how many millions of dreams we have project. Of course, we don't know how to do that. Maya does that to us, for us. But that points to the fact that the mind projects this as the awaker, and the awaker remains itself as the awaker in spite of all these projected orders of reality called the dream states. There is only one awaker, there is only one conscious mind producing that without being a fact because it is an apparent projection. Huh? Therefore, in that case, the awaker continue to remain undisturbed. The awaker must understand sooner or later that its true nature is limitless consciousness, so that it can understand that nature within its human nature. Because as we know, human beings are made out of spirit and matter energy. So recognize that spiritual nature, consciousness nature, so that we can live through all the modifications occurring in the mind of the awaker, Vishwa. It goes through modification, 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 modifications. The self-recognition is to recognize that there is an undisturbed principle, okay, which does not change as the mind changes. So is the mind going to change, continue to change after that recognition? Yes. But the non-identification with the changing mind produce a phenomenon which is very mysterious. The same mind becomes strong, becomes balanced, equanimous, uh, wise, just by understanding this undisturbed principle within our human nature, which is the spirit. Therefore, consciousness remains undisturbed, although it appears as the awaker, although the awaker goes through mental states in a flux of change. I am the unchanged, undisturbed, witnessing consciousness. So the Lord appearing as the universe, as we understand, is called Vivarta Upadana Karana. So the first level, God creates the world, God becomes the world. The third level, God appears as the world. And then the fourth level, he's not bringing here because this chapter, he's not going to go into the Upanishad teachings. He's more into the teachings in respect to Saguneshwara. In the eyes of the beginner student, saying as the creator, and then a more mature student will see God becoming the universe. The third one will see as appearing as the universe due to this Maya Shakti and the intelligence of Sattva Guna. So the fourth stage would be to understand that there is no real God in none of those three levels. There is only consciousness, and everything is an apparent superimposition or reflection within consciousness. And that's what the Jiva Atma needs to recognize. Everything is just a reflection or projection, superimposition within the only reality. What is this reality? Is Nirguna, God, which is consciousness. But how do you know that? Because I am of the nature of consciousness. You are of the nature of consciousness. Everything is of the nature of consciousness, and I can understand. I have followed all the teachings to the extent that now I understand. The logic is clear, and I have developed a certain conviction that everything is happening within myself as consciousness, exactly like as Lord Krishna presents. No? This universe is divided in the internal universe and the outer universe, as we have seen. So, the sixth verse, let's go to the sixth verse to make some progress here. The seven great sages, the early four sages, the 14 manus who possess my nature and whose progeny are these in the world are born of my mind. So here, I'm not familiarized much with those 14 manus and all these other concepts, but Swami is going to help us, and I'm sure that Lynn, that she likes to dig into that, she can help us as well in respect to these seven great sages and the four sage 14 manus and so on. Now, the creation of the external world is being talked about. It said that at the beginning, God creates the external world before they brought the jivas, all the sentient beings. The material inert world came first, according to the scriptures, according to the revelations of Sapta rishis, as well as the Sanakati rishis. So the human beings came last. Some other set of rishis indicate the Grihastha rishis are interesting. Say so. Other set of rishis represent the Nivritti. Uh, also, unanimously say the same thing. He's trying to fundament this assessment, these uh, declarations in the Vedas. Okay, let's see what more we understand here. So one of these, now I begin to remember a little bit this passage because I did this in Portuguese language in the past. There is some very nice jewels here, good insights as well in respect to our sampradaya having two cores. One is the Sannyasa Sampradaya and the other is the Grihastha Sampradaya. And we are all Grihasthas, people of the world. And all the rishis representing our Sampradaya as well receive the same revelation, such as the rishis representing the Sannyasa Sampradaya. That is the bottom line here. There are out of these 11 different rishis or beings, all the other beings came. Okay, I'm not going to go there. If anybody wants to elaborate a little bit more on this. Therefore, he says, the seven great rishis, these seven rishis are described in the Puranas. So, as you know, Puranas are beautiful novels, beautiful symbolisms are there. And My friend student here was telling me that there are some Puranas that are better than music, better than watching Netflix so they are novels. A lot of that is mythologic, but there are some beautiful insights into the nature of humans, né? Even some mystical concepts such as the way God brought about this manifestation. This is all received by the rishis because the Vedas in its entirety were revealed to humanity through the rishis according to our scriptures. A lot of our texts, they were written by rishis, or written by Mahatmas, but the Vedas, they were received. And how about the Puranas? The Puranas were written, but here and there I get the impression that some of these Puranas were also received by some rishis, okay? So it's not really relevant, none of that, no, in respect to self-knowledge and moksha. But anyhow, it's a nice story. Different Puranas, different names are mentioned, you know. We have got Sapta Rishi. I do not know whether you remember. So Vashishta, Gautama, blah, 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 blah. A lot of Sanskrit here. Okay, he's describing a little bit these different seven uh, devatas, 7 meters, 7 rishis, as mentioned those in that verse. Okay, so those 7 rishi you can take. So there is another version also to this verse. This verse is not really much relevant unless you familiarize with the Vedic culture, and then you can enjoy the nuance of these stories. Huh? He says here that or three or another version also Brigano Kruto Vashistam. It's only Sanskrit here. So first Brahmaji came out of the navel of the Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu created Brahmaji. The rest of creation was transferred to Brahma to do the job. Brahmaji was created first, and then Brahman, so to speak, represent as Vishnu, said, Brahmaji, now that I have created you, you have the supreme knowledge, intelligence, I leave the rest of the creation for you. And then Brahmaji begins creating other, other objects. So I'm saying there is no question of the regular creation. Suppose you ask the question, how is it possible to create all this by mere sankalpa? The power, my answer will be we are doing it regularly by sankalpa matra. We create the dream state every day. Yeah? And then it's just those parallels to understand that the dream state, there is nothing much mystical in respect to dream state. This is a good line to thought. There is nothing really mystical. Why? Because we produce the dreams over and over again, all sorts of dreams. Yeah? And then there is nothing really mystical. But yet it's a mystery because we don't know how to do that. And some dreams are very mysterious, which gives us the impression that they are impressions from other births, other lives. Yeah. So we create those things. This power, Nidra Shakti, is available to us so that we do that. I tend to say we don't do shit. Ishvara does that for us. Maya does. Maya Shakti has a Nidra Shakti to allow the mind of the Jiva to project the dream universe. So there is nothing much special about that. So, and then how about the macro dream? Now, what is the total mind of Ishvara? Is a totality. of all minds, totality of all knowledge, totality of all ignorance. So that exists within the subtle realm as the Hiranyagarbha, the entire mind of God, everything, every element of the subtle world is there, all the impressions, all the collections of memories and knowledge and ignorance and feelings, sensations. So it's easy for us to understand that the mystical world is mystical because we don't really understand much. But we produce mysticism in this sense every time we dream. So there's nothing mysticism, there is nothing esotericism that can help us to overcome the problem of samsara. So at the time of dream, you believe that the dream is real, and then later on you're aware that it's unreal. Vedanta says this life is kind of a dream as well, and you need to awake from this awakening state as the awaker to understand to real your true nature as consciousness, to understand that this as well is a sort of a dream. So who is dreaming this dream? Would bring us to another conversation. It is the entire humanity dreams this dream, and this dream collectively, Hiranyagarbha, the total mind of all beings, it brings us back again and again into another gross birth or life. So we come back because we dream to continue having this experiencing physical gross duality. We do these things regularly. Vedanta says this awakening gross physical material world is not really real. And from the standpoint of the awaker, you're going to fight this argument, say it's real because I can touch, feel, smell, and so on, and see. But it's only real during the awakening state because when you become a dreamer, this appears to be non-existent or unreal. So we have seen the way through all the Upanishads we have studied so far, the importance of analyzing these three states and to take parallels to understand that this order is real only when we stand here as a waker. When we stand in our bedroom as the dreamer, we see the dream world. The only reality is that dream world. And when we stand as Pranya Jiva in deep sleep, there is only one reality, which is Anandamaya Kosha, the peace of experience, absence of duality, and absence of vasana, the pool of vasanas. Brahmaji creates the Saptarishis through Sankalpa, means he created by mere visualization. So that's the idea. You think, you become, you project a power. Everybody would like to manifest by the power of thinking. I think, I become. I think, I manifest. A lot of people makes a lot of money selling this idea to people who want to manifest by mere visualization, and people fall for this concept. They spend a lot of money. And the guy teaching this concept manifests indeed a lot of more money. So not only Sapta Rishis, the Sapta Rishis represent Grihastha, Sampradaya, Paraparam. This is beautiful. That's a conversation that I'm more inclined. So we have our Grihastha Param. There's just Grihastha people, business people, family people, people of the world that gets in contact with a guru, which more often than not are grihastas as well. We don't know if there are more gurujis, grihastas or more gurujis, sannyasis. Okay, we don't know. But here and there, I hear that there is a possibility there are more grihastas, gurujis, So we have a paramparam, the guru passing on the knowledge to the disciple pass on, and you have it in the sampradaya of the sannyasis as well. So Mark used to believe that he wanted to become a sannyas and renounce his status as a grihasta, but I think that he is no longer interested in that anymore. Before that, there were earlier four rishis, so we are called samadhi. Okay. So Brahmaji creates these seven kinds of rishis. He says it would be enough two rishis, four rishis, but somehow here they say seven rishis. So he creates four rishis and say, you rishis, you're going to be grihastha rishis, so you go and get married, get family, get children. And he creates maybe three rishis and say, you're going to be sannyas, you have to renounce everything. So the intention of Brahmaji is what? What he wants to see what these four rishis will do, the rishis who are grihasthas. So all plans of Brahmaji failed. I begin to remember slightly this story. It failed. Sometimes, even nowadays, when a child wants to take sannyas, the parents do not like it. They are worried about the future of the child and so on. Brahmaji had the same problem. Brahmaji was very angry because of these four children he created. Say, you're going to be rishis because I'm going to teach you and you have to pass it on. Four children. And it seems the children somehow disobeyed God and what he did. That's it. So I'm not going to reveal the clue of the story so easily. Disobedient rishis, disobedient children. That's why nowadays we also get such disobedient children. The rishis were disobeying Brahmaji. They say Brahmaji got angry at the time before, therefore Brahmaji eyebrows came out of his eyes because of his anger to these four rishis who were supposed to be rishis in spite of being grihasthas. Why they are called rudras, these rishis are very interesting. Why are they called rudras? And how should they get anger? And how should they get anger because of the four rishis? And since these four people took to Nivriti Marga, Brahmaji had to create another seven for the Pravriti Marga. Okay. Oh, Lynn, go and figure it out and explain it all to us tomorrow in our next class, okay? And all these 11 rishis, not only that Manavaha, but also 14 manas who preside over a particular age, a particular era called Manvataram. And then he goes into the supposed 71 Katur Yugas. Not 71 years, but 71 Katu Yugas. And some billions, trillions of years each yuga, and I don't go there either. So what they doing here? I'm losing the story. We do not know all these. These are all stories. They say that idly, because of hunger and who wants, and then he brings his jokes in between. Unless I'm listening him, I know when it's a joke and when it is not. I'm trying to get to the core of this delivery here. Wow. Now we are in which Manvatarantam. So let's talk about the yugas. No, I can't stand this talk about yugas. Therefore, thereafter the eighth Manu came, Brahmaji day came, Brahmaji once awaking day, 12 hours, and then he's going to compare the timing of one day of Brahmaji compared to Yuga, compared to our timeline as well. Manu, he's trying to explain the meaning of this deity Manu. Man came from Manu. And why Manu? Manu Chintayati. So Swamiji knows all of these things because he did study all the Puranas as well. His whole life is studying the scriptures and the Puranic scriptures as well. Okay, the thinking human being is derived from the root man. You should think. English dictionary, we do not get this derivation. Okay. So everyone is Satchitananda nature. Satchitananda is Svarupa. Everything is Satchitananda Svarupa. That's why we are so also happily able to say, Aham Satchitanandasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, just as every spark has got the same nature of the original fire. This is a beautiful analogy as well. Everything has the same original nature, and this is Satchitananda Brahman. So all these derivations, yeah, of all these deities, all this creation, everything comes from the same source. There is another meaning of this bhavaha. Bhavaha means bhakti also. One means nature, the second means devotion. So devotion towards God, towards Krishna. Thereafter, what happens out of the 11 rishis alone, not only 11 rishis, out of 14 manus, all other beings were born. Okay, let's see if the next verse gets better. He who really knows this glory, the glory of the Lord who creates all these things, even from the mystical, esoteric realms, concepts, theories of how a creation that does not exist was produced. It's a bit crazy to go into those Vedic concepts, talking in such details about how a God, which is the first stage of understanding of the nature of the God, created and what is the process step by step. So, out of respect to Swamiji, I did not skip this verse, but it's not relevant to mature Vedantis such as ourselves. So he who really knows this glory and power of mind is blessed with unshaken knowledge, conviction. There is no doubt in this. So he's trying to break it down even in the esoteric realms and all this conceptual knowledge of how creation came about, saying that this is all due to my glory, the power of Maya, the intelligence attached to this power. Everything is blessed. And the person who knows all of that is blessed with unshaken knowledge. Unshaken knowledge is for doubtless self-knowledge. There is no doubt about that. So I think it's going to get better, the following verse. And we meet tomorrow again, same time. Is everyone good for tomorrow?
I am hopefully good for tomorrow. Although, when a worker comes to the house, they'll tell you they'll be here between 8 and noon. So if someone shows up, I don't know what to do about that, but I hope they will be later.
I understand. Yeah. Nowadays, nobody says one time. They say
Yeah.
between 9 and 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Okay, we meet tomorrow. Namaste. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Mark, are you going to be able to attend tomorrow?
Uh, yeah, I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye now.